there dreamers, welcome back to my channel. Or if you are new, hello, my name's Jacqueline, glad to have you. Consider subscribing. If you are a lurker, like 80% of you that watch and don't subscribe to my channel, I'd love to have you here more, so consider hitting that subscribe button and the bell to be notified of my latest videos. I kid you not, I literally just got done debating with myself whether or not I needed to order a Hoya. I just got an in-stock alert for something that I have been waiting on for a while, and I decided that with shipping, it was not worth $67 to me, and I declined to purchase, but hopefully I don't regret that decision later. But anyway, I have collected a lot of new plants recently, and I really wanted to fill you in. If you guys have not watched my last couple of videos, I would encourage you to do so. I moved to a different part of the US, and that gave me access to a lot of different kinds of plants. Some of these plants were gifted to me, and I will let you know. Other plants I purchased myself. I found them in person, and I just couldn't resist. Something I didn't anticipate is I've collected a lot of begonias. I've always thought begonias look really cool, but I never thought I could really keep the environment that they would like. Begonias in general, I see thriving where I live, so I'm a lot less intimidated by the prospect now. The other things I feel like are pretty predictable for me, so I guess I'll start with what's right in front of me and that you already saw in the thumbnail. This is a Begonia maculata whitei. It is a cane style begonia, and I have been told that these are pretty easy to care for. It is my first time owning it. These spots on the leaves, I always thought that they were white, but they are silver. I did purchase this in a 6-inch Costa Farms pot. The ceramic pot was broken, so I was able to negotiate the price on this one. If you have not seen my Costa Farms review of the online versus in-store big box experience, go check that out. It's over here. So I did repot this one, and upon removing all of the media that I could safely, I saw that the root system was still pretty small, so I put it in this smaller pot. This is a 3-inch pot as opposed to the 6-inch that it was in. I will have to repot it sooner, but I think that's better than potentially drowning it. Another begonia I have in front of me that is usually right here. This is another Costa Farms cane begonia, but they don't mark all of them with their names. So I have done a little bit of sleuthing online, and I suspect Begonia Linda Dawn. If you have a better suspicion, then please let me know in the comment section down below. I don't normally hold it up to the window and, you know, have it backlit and looking at it, but the little hairs on the leaves are hot pink, which is so cool. This is one of those plants that on the tag and everything, it says it's a low light plant. A lot of these begonias will say on the Costa Farms tag that they're a low light plant. That's not true. They enjoy more medium light in my experience. This tiny little thing, beautiful, beautiful tiny little thing, is some sort of variegated Monstera standaleyana. I don't know if it's the white or yellow variegated. We will see as the leaves mature and as it gets a little bit bigger, but this was a gift from one of my subscribers. Thank you, Sherry. You're gonna see a couple of plants from Sherry in this video. I am in love with this plant. It is so gorgeous. I thought it would do well in humidity just because sometimes Monstera and philodendron can kind of choke out new leaves if they're not getting enough humidity, particularly when they're little. So I thought I would put this in the dome for that reason, as well as it's in a little bitty pot, and I am just not the best at keeping those watered. So this will kind of trap the humidity, keep that media moist a little bit longer. And not gonna lie, having it in the dome makes it a little bit easier for me to pay attention to because I don't have very many plants in high humidity environments, so it stands out. This plant that you also saw in the thumbnail was also from Sherry. I have one more leaf, a single node that is rooting in the other room because this was one cutting and I wanted to have a fuller plant, so I kind of chopped up this guy where it had some aerial roots, and one node did not have aerial roots, so that one is working right now. But these gorgeous, gorgeous leaves belong to Syngonium chiapens. I love syngoniums. One of the first plants I was ever gifted by anyone was a big syngonium, and one of my favorite syngoniums is from my friend Sarah. I have never seen anything like this in person. Of course, FedEx truck just showed up, and they're probably going to be able to see me talking to no one. Let's just pause while we're ahead. This gorgeous specimen is it's not a Hoya, is a Sansevieria or Dracaena Bantal's Sensation. At least that's what it was labeled as at the nursery I bought it from. Cute airplane. There they go. I thought it was 4 plants, but it may be 5. I just thought that this would be happy in terracotta, as all my other snake plants are. I have always wanted one, but they're tricky to do online, and I want to say this was a $20 plant, and there was like a 20% off sale going on, so $16? Well spent, in my opinion. This gorgeous begonia, I do not know, but I suspect to be either Begonia Frosty or Begonia Miss Mummy. This beautiful begonia was in full bloom when I found it a couple of weeks ago. It looks so magical. All of these blooms were just on every single stem, and it was lovely. All in all, I think it's a pretty happy plant. It is due for a little water, so I will do that after this video, but I really, really love how these begonias look. I like the ones that have a lot of contrast, the dots, the texture on the leaves. This one has just a slight pubescence on the stems, so a slight hairiness, if you will. This next plant is not new to my collection, but you guys have never seen it before. It was a bonus cutting that I received with a Hoya purchase, and it's not technically a Hoya, so I don't think, fit it into any videos, but I had it in a moss takeout container for a very, very long time. I'm talking approaching a year now, and I just transplanted it into soil a couple of weeks ago, and I think it's doing okay. So I thought we would talk about it in this video. Tiny, tiny little thing is my Deschetia nummularia. And it did have all of these, you know, kind of frosty, bluish leaves when it came to me. These bright green things that you're seeing are new growth that it has just started putting off. I knew that it had established enough of a root system in the moss when it started to push little green growth points, so I figured I better transplant it so it could have some nutrients to sustain that new growth. So that was my thinking behind it. This tiny little terrarium thing, I keep it in there with my Deschetia ovata, which is the watermelon Deschetia that is now pest free. Knock on wood, I don't have any real wood around me, damn it. MDF is gonna have to do. It seems really happy. The growth points have definitely progressed since I've put it in there. I'm very excited to see this grow. I have had a lot of luck with Deschetia. Granted, I have had more luck with the more established plants, just like anything. Once a plant is a little bit more mature, it has a little more roots going on, it's a lot easier to care for because it's a lot less vulnerable. I also am excited because I have suspected this since I first got it, but there's a tiny little nubbin towards the end here that might be a peduncle. They may not be called peduncles on Deschetia, but they are a cousin of the Hoya and they bloom as well. So I'm calling it that. If you have a better term for it, leave it for me in the comments below. I would love to learn. This I actually have 2 of, and you can see it was $5.99. They were each $5.99. It is also called Ceropegia woodii, but it is called string of arrows or string of spades as opposed to string of hearts. So that is the differentiation. I have had great luck with my string of hearts. It is a very easy care, low maintenance houseplant for me, so I was really excited to purchase another variation of it. But I do plan to combine these 2 pots together. Let me know, have these been popping up in your area? I couldn't believe that I saw this in the grocery store. It was the only one. I have a 6-inch pot of string of turtles, and this is a 4-inch pot. You could actually see a lot more of the soil when I first got it. It's been a little over a month now that I have owned this plant, and it is just doing so well in this room. This room does have a total of 12 grow lights, so there are 7 LED bars on the undersides of shelves, and then there are 5 grow bulbs in little lamps up above me. So this little guy is clearly happy with the level of light that is in this room. You guys normally see this in videos. Thanks right here. Another duplicate plant for me is this Zunzi. I actually continue to see these even in larger sizes in my local nurseries now, and These are some of my favorite plants. I love ZZs. I have 2 green ones, I have 2 Zunzis, and actually now I have 2 Raven ZZs too. I guess we'll talk about that next. I'm a big fan. These guys are really, really easy care plants. You can see the new growth on this one is the lime green stalks. Every once in a while, I'll be in the room as some of these are separating, and you can hear an audible pop as some of the leaves detach from each other. It's super fun. Actually, I broke my no buying plants before I moved for this plant. Walmart was the only place that occasionally had Costa Farms plants in the last place that I lived, but it was very few and far between, and usually by the time I found them, they were so sunburned and dead that it didn't really matter that they were there. I stumbled upon these when they had just kind of gotten there, and so this one wasn't that sunburned yet. It hadn't been severely overwatered yet, so it had a fighting chance, and sure enough, it's kept a lot of the new growth that it had. This guy has just been thriving. It survived the move. It was completely unfazed, and it's doing really well. I love Raven ZZs. If you are someone who's not good about dusting your plants, I would just say whenever you water this, just use the little spray nozzle on your kitchen sink. That's kind of what I do, because the black leaves definitely show a lot more dust than my other plants do. So that also keeps this guy pretty free of pests in my experience. This Cebu Blue is so gorgeous, and it was the only one at my Lowe's. I want to say it was $14. It's a 6-inch pot, but I can see the roots coming out the bottom, so it's definitely ready for a repot. This is a very generous plant. It's super dense. There's a lot of cuttings in here. It's also putting off a lot of new growth, so very happy to find this. Again, it says it's a low light plant. Please do not give this low light unless you don't want it to be silver anymore, because you can see it's pretty green from being in a box and from being trapped inside a big box store, but it will be silver once again very soon. Speaking of silver, Scindapsus trubii Moonlight that I picked up in person once I moved here. As we've discussed in a prior video, you can check it out over here. This is a much better deal than what you will get by purchasing their plants online. I am very happy with this plant. It is putting off new growth. It has not really stopped putting off new growth. This plant really does not need a lot of light. Something I forgot to mention in that last video is that these guys, even close to a grow light, will be pretty unhappy. So they are happier in more medium light or low light. What a lot of people think of as low light is no light, so I'll say medium light for this. I do find that it's okay in this room with grow lights, but I have it pretty pulled far away. So that's my 2 cents. This one stopped me in my tracks. I have killed 2 Rex Begonias. It was a while ago now. I was not checking my sources when it came to who I was trusting with telling me how to care for Rex Begonias, and on their care instructions that you will often see in the store, it says that they prefer moist soil, that they want to remain moist, and I do not find that to be the case. I find that they want to dry out, but they do want to be watered pretty promptly after that. I may not be 100% accurate, but when I looked this up, I believe this is called Begonia Rex Firework. It's a very fitting name. It's absolutely gorgeous, and I can't stop staring at it. This plant, well, parts of this plant have been on this channel before. I actually combined a 6-inch pot with the cuttings that I had from a freebie that I got with a plant, and the cuttings I got from Carmen Whitehead, which if you have not seen that video, I will link it over here as well. I unboxed a trade that Carmen and I did, Philodendron Brazil. This actually used to be a plant that I thought I didn't want. And once I saw them in person, especially the ones with these really large leaves, I fell in love, and I just wanted to find a reasonable one. And I actually found a 6-inch pot when I was briefly visiting Long Island, of all places. I was in a Lowe's. There was one of these, I believe it was the Urban Jungle collection, and it had the tag on and everything, but it didn't have the decorative pot that it was supposed to come with. It was just in the nursery pot. I brought it up to the register, and they said they would give it to me for 50% off. So I said, sure. I brought this home in my carry-on. It's definitely trailing a little bit more now that I added the cuttings from Carmen to it. It was not doing this before. These are her cuttings. But it's a beautiful plant with large leaves. It's very healthy. It doesn't have any pests or anything. You know I love it when I almost bought a duplicate yesterday. My last little Rex begonia. I actually am least confident on the idea of this one. The one that I could find that looked the most similar is Begonia Rex Jive. At least the pictures I saw online, but it's just so stinking cute. I love the pattern. I love that it's kind of black on the upper side and then red on the underside. It is in a nursery pot just sitting inside here. I'm officially exhausted and I need more water. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it all the way to the end, please let me know by leaving some sort of plant emoji in the comment section. If you are looking for ways to help my channel, that is the way to do so. Please watch videos all the way through. If you can watch more than one video, that's awesome. Any way you interact with them is helpful to me as well, so thank you so much in advance if you do. I hope you subscribe if you have not already. I would love to have you around here for more videos. And until the next one, bye.